The topic of this session is getting funded in 2016-17. Now when we start, we face a lot of questions. First is the idea what and how do I validate? Second, how do I get funding? Then how do I bootstrap? Should I raise angel money? Should I raise venture money? Who do I go to? How do I go about it? Or in how much time do I allocate to these kind of activities versus running my own business? So there are several such questions that an early stage venture faces. So we'll try and address some of these questions during the discussion today. We have the panelists who have been investors, and there are several panelists who have the experience of starting their own ventures, raising funding, and there are serial entrepreneurs as well here. So maybe a brief round of introduction. I'm Mragank Jain. I work with Standard Chartered Private Equity. I have been investing for the last 10 years. I also have an experience of starting my venture. I did this for 2 years, did not work out, and am back in investing. Aakaar.
Good evening, thanks for that. So my name is Aakaar Gandhi. I work with Redcliffe Capital and I lead the India investments in the early stage companies. I have been on the founding team of 2 travel startups before this. One's a travel marketplace and one's an adventure travel company. I've been working with Redcliffe for about 1.5 years now, and we've scaled about 26 investments across all sectors.
Thanks. First of all, I'd like to thank Franchise India for having me here. What a show. Ritu and Gaurav, take a bow wherever you are. My name is PadmajaRuparel. I've been an entrepreneur. I've been in corporate life. I've set up TIE in India, set up the Indian Venture Capital Association, and now what I enjoy most is I've co-founded and I lead Indian Angel Network. Just a small word on that. We are a large angel investor group which invests in startups. We have close to 450 investors from 10 countries. We've invested in about 120 companies across 17 sectors, including, and I must repeat this, including offline manufacturing, medical devices, food, kiosk chains, all of those apart from technology, semiconductor, cybersecurity. We've created good returns. I think we have a very, very happy set of investors, and we've of course invested in India and overseas. So what we believe, our mantra is, it's money, mentoring, and market access. So we'll be happy to talk to all investors and see how we can help young entrepreneurs really start up and create large-scale businesses.
Thank you, Ms. Padmaja. I'd just like to echo what Ms. Padmaja just said. Thank you, Franchise India. Thank you, Entrepreneur India, for this the amazing work which they're doing. My name is Vineet Nambiar. I'm based out in the Middle East. I've been part of the founding team. I've founded multiple ventures over the last decade, primarily focused in the Middle East and the US. We also work with ventures, startups in India as well as the US to scale them up internationally. Now specifically as far as India is concerned, we are launching a major initiative called Silicon Karma, that is next year, which is a technology house, a hub for housing probably 100 plus of the best startups, which will have a technology, a co-working platform. Along with that, we will connect them to the Bay Area network in Silicon Valley, of Silicon Valley. And we're also going to give them access to the Boston network. We have a huge academic network there. So what we're trying to bring is, we're trying to get some of the smartest startups, typically who have actually had a seed round and probably looking at a Series A. And we're giving them the opportunity to connect with what is probably the most dynamic and vibrant ecosystem in the world, that is the Bay Area. And secondly, we're trying to fix one major loophole, which I feel in the Indian startup ecosystem, which is corporate innovation. You have many of these corporates. Corporates are fabulous with scaling up, but they do a terrible job when it comes to innovation. And same way, startups are great at innovation, but they struggle with scaling up. So if we can bring, say, a Samsung innovation team or any of the major player innovation team to work along with these startups, that could be a great customer access or potential exit partner for these ventures. So that's briefly about me. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm Kumaran Pillai from Singapore. I run a venture accelerator called Apple Seed. We established this in 2013. We've managed close to about 160 startups in Southeast Asia. But before I go down and give you all the numbers, entrepreneurship is something that's very close to my heart. Right after university, after a year of working in Hewlett Packard, I decided to throw away my MNC job and started this journey. It's the most challenging and the most rewarding journey. So today, I'd like to share some of my experience. I failed my first startup, went almost bankrupt. Second company I set up was, we won several international awards. It was a fintech company. I built something on a supercomputing platform just to find out that the platform went out of vogue because Mark Hurd of HP had some allegations of sexual relations with his secretary. And they decided to shut down the whole unit, right, because he was sacked. So entrepreneurship is just more than about numbers, about what's on your business plan. It's about people, it's about building teams, it's about what's in your gut. So when I see a good business, I can tell whether this is going to succeed or not because we believe in the people, we believe in teams, and that is the success. Today, if I'm managing 160 companies, I don't have a secret sauce, it's my team that's able to execute. Hopefully, I can share some wisdom. If not, I'll give you some of my failures and that might be some of my takeaway.
Thank you. Thank you, Mragank. And I would like to resonate the thought. Thank you, Franchise India. I think Ritu and Gaurav, they're doing a phenomenal job year on year. I'm glad to be here. Just a minute about myself. I run a boutique advisory law firm which specializes in private equity and venture capital work. Personally been doing this kind of work for the last 15 odd years, worked with the best of the best law firms. Personally, probably advised more than 150 transactions and had the advantage of looking at transactions with a 1 crore seed round to probably a 4,000 crore buyout round. And looked at different aspects, different essences from an investor perspective to also various entrepreneurs like yourself, different promoters at different stages. And hopefully, to a certain extent of my experience of working with so many people and their thought processes and what needs to be considered at different stages of your business is something that I would be able to share with all of you, and hopefully there will be a certain amount of value add on that.
Thanks, Vinayak. So we'll try and structure the discussion in 3 broad areas. Number 1, how to start. Second, how to raise funding. This is essentially the core of the discussion today. Third is post-investment value creation. Please feel free to ask questions at any point in time. Please raise your hands and we will take on questions at any point in time during the discussion. Towards the end, we will have a focused Q&A session as well. So Vineet, let me first start with you. You have been a serial entrepreneur. You started, this is your 3rd venture, I believe. So how did you go about starting tell us about your first venture. How did you go about starting? Did you go to any accelerator or any incubation center? And did you have co-founders? A little bit about your experience.
My first venture, that's a long time back. No, not to suggest that I'm old, but we actually raised investment primarily from the angel level. Because I think it's a very bad idea to actually approach an institutional investor. I don't think they're doing that today. I think the most important aspect if you're starting off as an entrepreneur is to network. It's so very important to network, these networking opportunities like these events. I keep saying network, and build on this. Not just sit and gather all those brochures and trying to connect, trying to make a list of potential investors who you'd like to connect with. There are always entrepreneurs who are raising money. If you connect with those entrepreneurs, you'll know about these investors. You'll understand what investment philosophies they have. Understand these aspects because it's very important when you go approach a VC. You understand, or an angel investor, that you know what kind of appetite he or she has. Some might like a software SaaS model. Some might say we're more into health and stuff like that. So you need to do that due diligence. A lot of entrepreneurs are desperate enough, they just say any money is good money, which doesn't work. Because the VC can see through right here. See through you, right? They can tell how much of a confidence you have in your plan. Always have multiple investors, play them each other to get the best deal. So
Now, in terms of, when you are starting, there are lots and lots of things that you are doing. You have to look at product market, you are building a team, you are finding real estate, where to set office, and you are looking at funding. how much time one can realistically allocate to networking? Did you have co-founders? How did you manage all this?
That's a good question. See, one of the one of the co-founders has to play the Steve Jobs and one has to play the Steve Wozniak, right? I mean, you have to have a guy who can actually network, and you need to allot that kind of a time to raise. You need to know how much money you need, and you need to attend as many events which is possible, which is realistically possible. So I had a co-founder. I always suggest every entrepreneur should have a co-founder. Going without a co-founder is a very, very bad idea because it's a very lonely job. It can be, Mike Tyson famously said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So you are going to get punched in the face. You need that support system to actually. So having these co-founders can also help, to distribute that job of actually, meeting these investors. So I'm not saying schmooze, but meeting them in an environment like this, a less stressful environment, you can make better relationships.
Kumaran, you have been a serial entrepreneur. Did you have co-founder, and how did you go about doing it?
Yeah, actually it's a very tricky question. So the first startup that I ran, it imploded. Basically, all the partners started fighting. So I've realized in most startups, the partners or co-founders fight at 2 points. One is just before the money comes in or the money comes in. They will all fight because how do you split the loot, so to speak? And they also fight when the business fails. Right? So it's a very tricky proposition, and it gets harder to manage when everybody has got equal stake in the business. So my formula has been to look at someone who's going to lead the business, let him take the lion's share, and then the other guys, we can put them on an option. I don't really like startups where there are 4 co-founders, each of them have 25%, because when they start fighting, the whole thing collapses immediately. So when you go to business school, they'll say that 99% of companies fail because of poor financial planning. But in my experience, it's because the team dynamics fails, the lead or the CEO is not able to manage dynamics. A lot of things do go wrong and can go wrong in a startup environment. It's a very difficult question. And if I'm mentoring any startup, it requires a one-on-one session with each and every member of the team. So there's no easy answer, but I agree that you need a partner, so to speak, a partner in crime. And also to take the downside risk away from you, because you only have 24 hours in a day.
Vinayak, your thoughts? How do you manage from a legal standpoint? For example, do you have equal shareholding, or how do you create the difference?
I think a couple of things become very important at this point of time. When you look at the business and when you look at people starting, there are various thought processes. The essence of a co-founder need not necessarily be just 2 people. It could actually be 4. It could be 3, irrespective of the number. But what becomes very important, and in my experience that I've seen, one of the aspects that everyone needs to bear in mind is verticalization of your roles are very important. From an investor's perspective, they need to know that if there are 3 people, 2 people, 4 people, whichever be the number of co-founders, who is doing what? Who's responsible for what role play? Because one of the largest challenges is when there is some kind of infiltration into the role play. The other thing is the essence of what the relationship is, like what Kumaran stated very importantly. Is there an alpha promoter? From an investor perspective, that becomes again a warning sign, because technically with an alpha promoter, you have the others saying yes, whatever they say, they will go across. So from an investor's perspective, then the essence is, will I get the information that I need? Will I get to know what is happening, or is it that everyone's going to go across and not have a healthy debate? And in these constructs, what becomes very important, which a lot of pedigree startups start thinking about early, is the founders agreement. And that's why it becomes very important to start looking at getting those checkers and makers and crossing the T's and dotting the I's at the earliest stage, because some may call it hygiene, some may say you don't need it right now till you raise your proper and I use this in my jargon of saying that the seed round is the F and F, the friends, families and the fools. But besides that, when you move on to actually the serious investment coming in, when the angels and the Series A come in, they actually appreciate the hygiene. They look at these as ticks in the boxes to say that they have thought through and put the company before. So I think these parameters become very important for you to start thinking as founders identify your roles, identify and respect what the role plays, and ensure whatever you were in a job, happy and cushion oriented, you were in the first of the food chain. As an entrepreneur, suddenly you realize you're the last of the food chain. And every day you wake up, and I'm sure all of you will have palpitations at night, waking up and saying that, okay, am I earning enough to pay for the relevant salaries as such or not? So the mindset, and to address Mragank's question, how you negotiate is a very dynamic, very deep thought process, which is very relative to circumstances. If you have the runway, you think you're a king, you can ask for anything and tell the investor with all due respect, you know what, these are my terms, you can take it or buzz off. Whereas if you don't have the runway, if you don't have a situation where you can expend or you can expand to that extent, you would say that, no matter what you ask for, end of the day is just a contract. Let me go across and sign off and get the money in the bank. Now, on a serious note, for all of you to understand one thing, and every time I advise, and I advise a plethora of funds at different stages, right from venture up to buyout, and I've always told my clients there that when you have an entrepreneur who sees a 200-page contract and says, here, there's the pen, and I'm signing on the dotted page without one single ouch, that is a red flag, because then that means that there is something somewhere dynamically wrong. Because at the end of the day, no matter where you are, as an entrepreneur, as your own company, you would want to negotiate, you would want the protections, you would want those basic rights to be factored in. And that's where you need to have a filter test and have a segregated list, and that's where a good advisor will come and tell you what's the differentiator between a must-have versus what's the differentiator between a good-to-have. In all the deals, as you go through in different scales, the demand of a venture investor versus a private equity investor versus a buyout investor is very dynamically different. The risk ratio of a venture investor or an early stage investor is that much higher. So at times probably the terms sound that much more harsh, the rights sound that much more harsh. As a private equity investor at Mragank's stage or maybe at a buyout investor, you are investing in a far better, higher developed, higher proof of concept oriented company where you've reached the inflection point of scale. You're now probably moving into a disruption mode. So the asks are more pragmatic, the asks are more oriented where the essence is about partnering. What you need to understand is, at that point of time, depending on where you are, as long as your sense of accountability is very high, because when you're taking an investor money, be rest assured that yes, it is an equity investment, but treat it like debt. The moment you treat equity like debt in your mind, your sense of accountability is that much higher, which means you're going to honor every clause in that document. So from the perspective of your negotiation, factor what the ring fencing is required, what those basic protections are, and make it a fair document. No investor will shy away and say that I want it completely one-sided, I want it completely in my favor. As long as you have basic protection in terms of what those rights are, what you need to ring fence, what are the asks that you have, so that tomorrow it should not go across and say that out of a question suddenly a situation occurs and the company is not yours anymore. From a jargon perspective, you hear liquidation preference, you hear participatory convertible options, you hear ratchets, you hear drag-alongs, tag-alongs, you hear preemptive rights, you hear multiple waterfall exits. There are various jargons that you can keep on discussing, and that's something perhaps we can do offline. But most importantly, keep the semblance of fairness and negotiate in a manner where at the end of the day, even the investor believes that yes, there is genuinity in terms of the promoter, and since I'm betting onto that particular promoter, I know that that promoter means business and I'm willing to sign the dotted line and sign the check at the same time.
Right, thanks. I think we have run out of time, so I'll just take one question from the audience.
I think you guys are looking for practical tips to raise finance, right? To raise money. First thing is to get a foot in the door. Get referrals. What worked for me? Get referrals. When we were raising funds for the second venture, I had been referred by 2 people to this investor. So when you're referred by 2 people, he wants to meet you and he's going to give you the time to listen. Then that's a very important aspect of it. So understand, get those referrals. You're looking for practical. You mentioned about validation. How do you validate your point? You should gain some traction in terms of either user, if you're a pre-revenue company, or in terms of revenue. That's when you know that this is something. And then again, when you have investors love an oversubscribed thing. The moment they know there are multiple investors ready to, pound on that, you get a better deal. So make sure you always have a multiple investors base so that you're not played by any particular investor. Usually they don't. VCs are not all vulture capitalists and things, right? But sometimes you will.
Thanks.
Hi everyone, I am Vivek. My question is with Mr. Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi, अभी कुछ दिन पहले एक स्टार्टअप मीट में मैं मिस्टर धीरज जैन से मिला था. वो मेरा जो स्टार्टअप है वो डेली कम्यूटर्स के लिए है, जैसे आप भी कर रहे हो. इट इज़ अ शटल लाइक सर्विस. तो जब मैंने अपना विजन दिया उनको, वो हाईली इंटरेस्ट थे मुझसे और उन्होंने कहा ठीक है लेट्स डू पायलट. तो फिर जब मैंने बाद में उनको मेल किया अपना सारा डिटेल्स, तो उन्होंने एक क्वेश्चन रेज किया, व्हाट विल बी द एंट्री बैरियर. तो मेरा क्वेश्चन सर आपसे और पद्मजा आपसे भी है कि अगर एंट्री बैरियर नहीं होगा किसी चीज़ से, जैसे बहुत बड़ी मार्केट है शटल या ओला के लिए, अभी तो मार्केट एक्सप्लोर होनी बाकी है, तो अगर एंट्री बैरियर नहीं होगा तो क्या आप हमें पैसा नहीं दोगे?
Sure.
Just 3 seconds. So, आपका business model मेरे को actually याद है because when he came back from the conference, the first thing we discussed was this, and he said, I've met someone who's doing a wonderful offline business. Let's give it a thought. We went over everything. Entry barrier is again a safeguarding mechanism. Someone here asked what the POC is. So, apart from everything that Padmaja also mentioned, she took you through the whole process of how you validate your idea. Entry barrier is also one main thing that the investor thinks about. So, if I'm a technology company और मेरे पास एक patent है अपने product के लिए, वो एक शायद entry barrier हो सकता है. अगर मेरे पास एक service company है और मेरा algorithm जिसे मैंने AI bot बनाया और मेरा algorithm है, मेरा algorithm मेरा entry barrier है. In a large market, we're not saying that there is no space for 2 or 3 or 4 players. हमारा कहने का तरीका ये था, we invest in a company on the basis of them safeguarding or building a huge moat around their idea, around their product, around their business. हमारा investment thesis ऐसा है. बहुत लोग ऐसे भी हैं जो एक investment ऐसे तरीके में करेंगे जहाँ पे मतलब market बहुत बड़ी तो 3-4 player भी आ सकते हैं, कोई problem नहीं है.
So what we can do is we can take this offline, but thanks so much. I think we had a good discussion. The couple of important points. I think the team, everybody, as everybody described, team is the most important in the heart of the startup, and that is the thing which you need to pay attention to very, very carefully in the beginning. Thank you so much. All of us are available here if you have any further
But
questions.
I want to just say one thing, please. See, all of you are here because you want to invest, you want to raise money, I assume. Okay? I just want to leave 2 things. One which I think Vineet touched upon is please look at when you're raising money, you're getting into a marriage. Don't only do reference checks, but also see whether your chemistry tallies with the investors. Does it match? Because your strategies, your philosophies, your objectives of taking where the company is need to match. Number 1. Number 2, like a marriage, if you have trust in the initial phases and if you build trust, will you be able to build companies? With all respect to my other co-panelists, agreements are supposed to be looked at and utilized when things are not going right. So please have trust in each other. And in a lot of cases, negotiation is more to do with education, to understand the investor's perspective and for the investors to understand the entrepreneur's perspective. So I really implore you, please go through these fundamentals because it is a marriage and it's going to last as long as it needs to last. But if you do not have trust, if your chemistries don't match, if your philosophies don't match, you will have bigger problems. And finally, घर आई हुई लक्ष्मी को मना मत करना, जल्दी से नहीं आती वापस.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone. Thank you.
Alright, thank you very much. I'm going to now request our session moderator, Mr. Mragank Jain, to please present the mementos to fellow panel members. Firstly, I request you to present the memento to Ms. PadmajaRuparel. To Mr. Vineet C Nambiar. To Mr. Kumaran Pillai. To Mr. Aakaar Gandhi. to Mr. Vinayak Burman. I'd now like to invite Ms. Ritu Maria to please come on stage to present the memento to our session moderator, Mr. Mragank Jain. Well, let's have a group photograph as well. Well, that was quite a befitting session. Can you have a round of cheer one more time to thank all of our panel members? It's a truly awesome session, I must say. Well, I'm sure all the delegates are waiting to swarm upon our speakers for their queries, but we'd also like to once again inform it's time for our final session.